Miseries and afflictions. Every one of us have our miseries and afflictions, which are the result of our past actions in this life and in earlier ones. This is what the principle of karma stresses. Master in his commandments more clearly in fifth commandment clarified this position. Faith and steadfastness develop only when there is opportunity for such development, and which opportunity is what our problems pose for us. Emotions. Emotion is a very gross feeling which blinds reality. The language of feeling or the language of God cannot be clear unless emotions die down. But then whole of
Bhakti movement.
whole of bhakti movement is emotion, an ecstatic emotion at that. Undue attachment. Attachment of any kind to anything or person or place is a bondage, and one in the path has to get out of the shackles, and he can only be bonded to the Lord. This arises only when there is goal clarity. It is for each one to know that. I can only say that if one were to analyze the thoughts and thought patterns that one gets aware of during waking state, dream state, and during meditation practices, there will be an awareness of the bondage. These invariably relate to the five kosas, five vikaras, and the three ishanas. The mosaic is so very difficult to decipher that it requires enormous amount of dedication to the goal and of course the grace of the master. We are the lucky few that have access to the grace of the master, and the remaining portion is better left unsaid, and it would be the sadhana of the individual. While one has access, it is also the experience of the discerning sadhakas that one does not get it unless one deserves it. This is to be done through an effort to develop devotion. As the master puts it, our primary motive is to develop devotion, and for that, service is only a means. We serve in the real sense only when our motive is sincere and honest. It carries with it a sense of duty as well as of love, both being inseparable from each other. One in the path also understands that devotion is a consequence of the Atma Swarupa Jnana and is not something one has from the beginning, as it is assumed with the recitation of slokas and mantras, poems, etc. Kartritva bhava is the root cause for the formation of all samskaras and all bondages. Unless this is got rid of at every level, the question of going beyond the chains of bondages of various categories already mentioned above does not arise. I'll take a pause here. Yes.
You can explain this one. Devotion is a consequence of Atma Swarupa Jnana and is not something one has from the beginning.
I guess it is trying to say that devotion does not precede Atma Swarupa Jnana. Once you have Atma Swarupa Jnana, then as a result of that, the devotion basically results. Versus the traditional thinking where if somebody is reciting slokas and mantras and poems, it is taken as a devotion. Here it is saying that the Atma Swarupa Jnana has to come, and as a result of that, the devotion is just a consequence of that. So it is not a consequence of recitation of slokas and mantras.
Atma Swarupa Jnana will be the second knot, right? And devotion is the third one.
Correct. So interdependence is basically preceding the devotion.
Just one important point noted here was this: the language of feeling or the language of God cannot be clear unless emotions die down. But then whole of a bhakti movement is emotion and ecstatic emotion at that. So this is again, generally people confuse that bhakti with the ecstatic emotion. But then
Yeah,
we cannot hear God in that. Another this practical hint, right? That the I can say that if one were to analyze the thoughts and thought patterns that one gets aware during waking state, dream state, and during meditation practices, there will be an awareness of bondage. So this is again for us to be aware, and where we are aware, we will understand that that is the bondage.
correct.
Anything, any other questions, anything to add? Otherwise, we can continue.
Okay. Gloominess and dejection. Please note that gloominess is not good for spiritual life. As a matter of fact, the feeling of dejection or gloominess, etc., arise only when we think that we have a right to expect results for our actions or karma. God is Samavarti, and therefore, whatever happens to our karma is what is the best that can happen. Please do your duty and leave the rest to the will of the Master. Repentance, if repeated again and again, begets gloominess, which is not good for spirituality. The past has to be treated as past only, and we should never take it to the future after repentance and seeking forgiveness. Confidence in the Master will grant you the feeling of forgiveness. Dejection is not a sign of humility, but it is an expression of extraordinary ego, veiled in the garb of humility. Brooding. Brooding over things is not in our hands, does not help in spirituality. It is only a sign of unyielding. It does not make any sense to bother about the past and spoil our state of mind. It is a common habit which we as practicants of yoga should avoid. We live in the present and move towards the future. There is little that we achieve by brooding over things on which we have no control. Hatred. Hatred is a bad emotion and is known to destroy all finer feelings in life. Make a positive attempt to love those whom you feel like hating. Love is the other side of the same coin. I am sure you will give thought to this and will feel relieved soon. Hatred to any person is not good, and it is hurdle in spirituality. Strong opinions alone lead to this condition. It is true that we suffer from it mostly because it is a powerful feeling. Cleaning regularly does relieve us of that problem.
Anything to add? Questions?
Depression. Depression is very bad in spiritual life, even as in ordinary life. Feeling repentant is different from getting depressed. When we have faith in ourselves and our master, where is the scope for depression? Please leave this habit. Natural calamities. Regarding natural calamities and the work thereon, there is nothing to write. Nature's work is accomplished by nature through various agencies, and the agent's will has no tolerance whatsoever. Nature knows only naturalness. Compassion is a good human quality, and that is all about as far as I know. To demand opportunity for work is not correct. They come at his wish. Please do read again Reality at Dawn, last chapters. Heaviness. Heaviness of any experience is to be inferred from repeated awareness of the condition. That which merges hardly get recognized. Beware of negative feelings. Do not have any negative feelings, as the master's presence can make such doubts true. Beware of such lapses in thinking. Clarifications of negative feelings. Question: I get often thoughts that something is lacking in practice and I'm not doing my sadhana properly. You are practicing regularly and as per guidelines and also feel the effect of pranahut. That being so, what is lacking and why that feeling? We should avoid assiduously negative thoughts.
Any questions? So just one thing in terms of the natural calamities, right? Nature's work is accomplished by nature through various agencies, and the agent's will has no tolerance whatsoever. So we see a lot of natural calamities nowadays, and it's increasing. And uh, for us, it's like compassion is a good human quality, and that is all as far as I know.
Please elaborate on the heaviness. Repeated something is there, no? I think a repeated awareness of condition is a heaviness. What it exactly means? Can you elaborate?
So the way I see, right, in the condition there are four stages, and so samipyata, sarupyata, salokyata, sayujyata. Sayujyata is oneness with the condition. And when we are saying oneness with the condition, it means that we are not even aware about it. It has been imbibed or it is part of us. So what I understand with this is that if same condition we are experiencing again and again, and that is uh, the awareness that we are having. So it's a heaviness of experience rather than being more and more lighter. Because the conditions is from samipyata to salokyata sayujyata, it should become more and more lighter, and the awareness of that should reduce. The description of that in the four stages, right, is one is we are very much aware of that, and our whole mind is thinking about, whole being is thinking about that condition. And sayujyata is that it becomes part of it, and there is no awareness of the condition. Does that help?
The four conditions that you talked about, that Sayujita and all, that is all a granted condition. Whereas here, I think it means that self getting aware of that condition, repeat awareness of that condition, whether it should be a heaviness, and the other one is that is what is granted when you progress or you get into the not very well.
No, sorry, did not, because see, all the conditions are granted. It is our awareness or our sensitivity in terms of what we feel for the different conditions. And what we feel in each of those four stages is described there.
So in fact, the statement, last statement, right? That which merges hardly gets recognized. It itself means that if you are able to say that I am feeling such and such things, that means we are able to tell it apart from the feelings that you had during the meditation. So if you are able to tell it apart, that means there was a lack of merging, and that's why you're able to recognize. And that is, in a sense, heaviness, or it can be inferred as a heaviness because you are able to tell that this is what you felt. But if you really atmasat, म्हणजे आपण जे म्हणतो ना, if it becomes atmasat, then you'll not be able to distinguish it from your condition. But if you are able to distinguish it from your condition, that means there was some sense of heaviness in it, and that is why you are able to be aware of that condition.
Actually, these answers have been given in context of some questions, and those questions are not printed here. So we cannot make any conclusive understanding of what that first sentence means. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, but the last sentence is from that if, that which merges hardly get recognized. That clarifies the intent of the answer to some extent.
Okay, got it, sir.
Any other questions, comments?
Even this beware of negative feelings, no, Dharmesh, like during point A, we have to be careful what the thoughts are. It's a warning in that sense.
Like this one, right? You're practicing regularly as per guidelines and also feel the effect of pranavati. That being so, what is lacking and why that feeling? We should assiduously avoid negative thoughts.
Another thing is that whether this dejection means a kind of a resentment or what? On previous page, this dejection is there, dejection.
This one, gloominess and dejection.
Right. So dejection is a sort of a resentment or?
No, what is the question? Can you just elaborate that?
I'm not getting sense to dejection word. So whether it is close to resentment or similar or different?
No, I think dejection is just simply like kind of a depression, or where you are in a denial mode and you are depressive. So that is the actual meaning to it. So
Mahajan Sahib, it is written, no, dejection of gloominess, etc., only when we think that we have a right to expect results for our actions. So, if the results are not as per our expectation, then we are dejected in that sense. But what the clarification it's giving is, dejection is basically a reflection of ego, extraordinary ego in the garb of humility.
Dejection is basically a feeling of entitlement.
Entitlement, correct.
That's why we feel we have to get it, but we did not get it. So that is the feeling. So that is extraordinary ego, entitlement.
Okay then. Yeah, let's meet next Sunday. Thank you. Namaste.